الحمد لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الذين ينقضون عهد الله من بعد ميثاقه ويقطعون ما أمر الله به أن يوصل ويفسدون في الأرض أولئك هم الخاسرون كيف تكفرون بالله وكنتم أمواتا فأحياكم ثم يميتكم ثم يحييكم ثم إليه ترجعون صدق الله العظيم. Yesterday we went over ayat number 27, the basic tarjuma, the translation of this ayah, along with a very brief tafseer, very brief depth into the meaning. This ayah speaks about the three major qualities of the fasiqeen. The fasiqeen are those who indulge in the disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They indulge in fisq. The first element of that fisq, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that they are those who breach or break their covenant with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala after they have made it firm, they have made it strong. This covenant with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was taken, it is referred to as mithaq amma. That covenant that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took from all of humanity, which is mentioned in Surat al-A'raf, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took this covenant from mankind. Alastu bi rabbikum, am I not your Rabb? So all of mankind, they said, Bala, definitely, O Allah, you are our Rabb. In this dunya, in this world, the kuffar or disbelievers, they deny this fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is their Rabb. And they show that denial either by openly rejecting the favors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or they give the credit of these favors to someone or something that it doesn't belong to. Other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they associate partners with Him. The first type, the essence of the word kafir, if we go into the English language, kafara yakfuru from Arabic, to cover up, that is the actual meaning of the word kafara. It is used in a few places, in many places in the Quran. In general, it has the meaning of the disbeliever, the kuffar, those who cover up the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is their Rabb. Those who cover up the fact that all of these favors and blessings and bounties that they enjoy in this dunya, that in essence the credit goes back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This term Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also uses in the Quran when He speaks about covering up the sins of the disbelievers, yukaffir anhum sayyi'atihim, in quite a few places in the Quran, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that we will cover up the sins of the disbelievers by wiping them out. So this is the actual meaning of the word kafara yakfuru. But the kuffar, the disbelievers, that's one group that they openly deny There are some who are bold enough, or they go even as far to say that, Na'udhu Billah, there is no being that has created everything. They say everything happened by chance. Everything happened by itself. In this world, if you give them even a simple book, and you tell them that all the words in this book came into existence by itself, they'll laugh at you. And they can't believe that a book came into existence by itself, but they believe that this vast universe came into existence by itself. It's so perfect, a perfect system. If we leave things to themselves, in the end there's nothing but chaos. But the perfect order of this universe in itself is clear evidence that there is a higher being and a perfect being. There's another type of kafir who associates partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He indulges in shirk. The word shirk is to have partners or to associate partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That he's giving the credit of numerous favors to things that it doesn't belong to. They're the two types of kafir, the two types of disbelievers. As for the first type, it's very easy to understand, even normal common sense or aql, using just intellect. It makes sense that nothing in this universe happens by itself. And if you take this vast universe and how perfect this system is, then it makes sense that there is an ultimate being. None of this could have happened by itself. And whoever this being is, first thing is very, very, very clear, that if you look in this universe, everything is so perfect that even in mathematics, the formulas are so perfect that if they were off very, very slightly, it would not be as perfect as the system is that we see. From the structure of the human body, to the structure of everything within this world, to the structure of the things within this world, to the sustenance, how much sustenance every creature needs, every creation needs. And that sustenance is never late. Everything is on its time. The perfect system is so perfect that if you just dive into the math of it, you make sense that this being, whoever it was, he has to have had perfect knowledge to be able to create such a perfect system. He needed immense and perfect knowledge and also perfect wisdom to execute that knowledge. That is why there's such a perfect system within this universe. And I'm just talking about this world. You go outside of this world, the planets and the stars and everything that we can find just within this sama'ud dunya, within this heaven where this earth is placed. And if you go even deeper than this, one is having the knowledge to be able to create and knowing what to create and having this perfect knowledge, but you also need immense power to do this. So it makes sense that this being is also unlimited power, or it has unlimited power to be able to create this vast universe. Sometimes in human mind we might think that, okay, there may be more than one. The reality is that even in our own society, if we have systems of structure, anytime you have more than one head, there are problems. You have this physical body, how many organs are working, how many elements are working. Everything is synchronized. But if you have two heads, you know what would happen. There's one control system, one control center. In this human body, there is one main control center. If you take that away, you can have chaos. You go into our society, within our cities, within our states, within our countries. At every top level, you'll find one person in control. For every city, one mayor. Every state, one governor. Every country, one president. If you have more than that, you can have a chaotic system. And this applies to everything within the world. Wherever you find systems, on the very top you'll find one in control, regardless of how much we may agree or disagree with that person. But there is one person. If you have more than that, even you may have two different parties in this system, you have the Democrats and the Republicans, you still have one president. And this applies to all the countries in the world. Anytime you have two, there's either a coup or there's some kind of war or there's a tussle. It becomes chaotic very fast. So if this is the system of this world and we're shown that if you have more than one, you have chaos, just imagine the system of the universe. So it makes sense that there is one being. More than that, you would have chaos. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses all of these issues. قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. Say He is Allah, the one and unique. Allahu Samad. He is Allah, He is As-Samad. That being that everything depends on Him and He depends on nothing. That being that is the center of control of the whole of the universe. It's very difficult to give a very, very unique meaning to the word Samadiyya as As-Samad. That being that the whole universe needs Him for its existence. But He needs nothing and He needs no one. And in a very simple sense, لَمْ يَلِدْ وَلَمْ يُولَدْ وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٌ. This is like a brief tafseer of As-Samad. Lam yalid, He is not from anyone. He is walam yulad, nor does He beget. He was not begotten, nor does He beget. Meaning He does not have any parents or grandparents, and He does not have any children or grandchildren. He doesn't have any of these kind of human ties. وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٌ. There's nothing like Him. He's one and unique. He's that being that is perfect. لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٍ. There's nothing even that we can use as an example like Allah, because Allah is one and unique. He is infinite. Everything else in the universe is finite. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only being who is infinite and perfect. So this is the system of creation that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created in our systems, so that we may be able to understand that there is a creator and He is one and unique. That is for those who claim that everything happened by chance. There's another type of kafir also who indulges in shirk and associating partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we went over the system of already having more than one. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran, وَاتَّخَذَ اللَّهُ مِنْ وَلَدٍ وَمَا كَانَ مَعَهُ مِنْ إِلَهٍ إِذَا لَذَهَبَ كُلُّ إِلَهٍ بِمَا خَلَقَ وَلَعَلَى بَعْضُهُمْ عَلَى بَعْضٍ. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He cannot have a son, the way that we think in human terms. Nor are there any other gods with Him. If there was any other gods, each God would claim his own portion in the creation. And what would be the next step? War. Anytime you have two powers that have equal power, so there's what? Disagreements. And in that disagreement there's nothing but war and chaos. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in other ayat of the Quran that if there were other gods with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if there was more than one God other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, لَفَسَدَتَا, you would find nothing but chaos. So this chaotic system would have existed, and that would have resulted in this universe not being the way it is. This perfect harmony within the universe. So just looking at the harmony within the universe, it makes sense that there is one being. And He is the being who has created everything. But there are kuffar and disbelievers who reject that and who deny that. So they break that covenant that they made with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. الَّذِينَ يَنْقُضُونَ عَهْدَ اللَّهِ مِنْ بَعْدِ مِيثَاقِهِ. The kuffar and disbelievers, they are those who break their covenant with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala after they have established that covenant. This was made before they were sent into this dunya. Before we were sent into this world, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took this covenant from mankind. Because as human beings, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made us a creation that had a higher level of intellect. It's because of this intellect and this intelligence that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave superiority to Bani Adam, to mankind. The ayat are coming later on in Surat Baqarah in the next few ayat regarding the creation of Adam alayhi salam. And one of the main qualities that gave Adam alayhi salam superiority even over the angels was that he was given ilm and knowledge regarding even the names of the things of this world. وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا. He was given such a knowledge that the malaika or the angels did not have. Through this knowledge, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala proved to the angels that this creation known as insan or human beings, they will have this gift of learning, this gift of understanding, to understand things to a much higher level. Even if we human beings are left to ourselves, there are many, many things that we can learn even instinctively. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has coded it into our very, very life, our very DNA, our very understanding. The elements needed for survival. So this gift, this ability to learn, this ability to understand, this ability to go beyond the rest of the creation, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to this human being. And because of this ilm, insan can go and become even better than an angel. But there's also a flip side to this knowledge. If we want, we can even become worse than the animals. Depending on the strength of a person, that is how much good a person can do and how much damage a person can do. We see in the world that we live in, with all the technologies that we have, there's good, and if we wanted, how much could we destroy? Just giving you one example of the nuclear energy, how much benefit is brought to the world. We have lit up cities. We have lit up most of the world with it. We have lights 24/7, all this nuclear power plants and whatever is there. But on the flip side, how dangerous is it? Within moments, in hardly few hours, if it ever broke out, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save humanity. But if World War III ever broke out, how long do you think it would take? There are no winners. This is just, they've ran the numbers. In World War III, no one wins. It's just who can wipe out the other side more than what the other side will do to you. There will be nothing left of the world. This is how dangerous that knowledge can be. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put this capacity inside the human being. That we have this ability to become better than angels. But on the flip side of the coin, we can become worse than animals. As far as better than the angels, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showed us in the Quran the example of Adam alayhi salam. Where even the angels were ordered that now you do sajda to Adam alayhi salam. When Adam alayhi salam proved his superiority over them in regards to his depth of understanding and knowledge. But on the flip side of the coin, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about the kuffar and disbelievers, He tells us in various places in the Quran, أَرَأَيْتَ مَنِ اتَّخَذَ إِلَهَهُ هَوَاهُ. Have you seen that person who has made his own desires his God? وَخَتَمَ عَلَى سَمْعِهِ وَقَلْبِهِ وَجَعَلَ عَلَى بَصَرِهِ غِشَاوَةً. Such a person, his hearing has been blocked off, his intellect is blocked off. There's a veil that goes over their eyes. In other ayat of the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that such people, أُولَٰئِكَ كَالْأَنْعَامِ بَلْ هُمْ أَضَلُّ أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْغَافِلُونَ. Such people are like cattle, but even more lost than cattle. And they're ghafil, they're heedless. You drive down the highway, sometimes you go out to the rural areas, these farmlands, you're driving in your car at very, very good speed, 60, 70 the mile. The speed limits out there are very amazing. There's nobody else on the road. And you pass by these farms, and the farm is right on the side of the road. And you see the cattle, they're eating from the grass, the cow is minding its own business. You drive by at 70 miles an hour and the cow doesn't even budge, it doesn't even look up at you. We're sitting in our cars and someone passes by and our car shakes. First thing we're looking at them, what is going on? But these cows are so heedless, they're so gone in their own world. They're eating their grass and they're lost in their... They have a lot of khushu', something that maybe we should learn in our salah. Your car goes by at 70 miles an hour with all the noise and all the speed, and this cow is lost in its own grass. With so much devotion, so much khushu' and khudu'. This is how heedless they are. And they're right on the roadside, right on the side of the road. If you just stop and reach out, you can touch them. They're not so far away. There's only one little thin barbed wire fence holding them back. Or probably stopping your car from hitting them. That's how close they are, right there. And not one, not two. How many cars pass by them and they don't even bother to look up to see what's going on. This is how lost they are. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us this example in the Quran, that there are people who are so lost in their kufr. They're so lost in their disbelief. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has left them to their kufr and disbelief so much that you can show them all the miracles in the world and it won't even budge them. Sometimes we think that if they see miracles, they'll accept. Just go to the seerah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. What miracle is there that he did not show them? He split the moon. What more? They were asking for a miracle. They came to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. They asked for a miracle. He said, what do you want? He said, split the moon, He said, okay. Come on later to the Badr when the full moon. Come on that night. Kuffar came. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam made ishara, with indication to the moon. And Allah wanted to split the moon. Half went behind one hill and the other half went behind the other hill. He said, you guys see it now? He said, okay. He gave ishara, he came back. And he asked him, he said, so, you want to believe yet? How many believed? Abu Jahl was standing there. You think Abu Jahl, did he believe? No. Then Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, okay, it's not just you seeing it. This is a phenomenon the whole world saw. There was a caravan that will come within the next 2 weeks, asked him. Caravan came. They asked the people in that caravan, came from Yemen or very far away. The people said, yeah, there was one night, it's a strange phenomenon. The moon split in half, completely. And it went on the other sides of the world. Did they believe? No. Not bigger. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, اقتربت الساعة وانشق القمر. The Qiyamah, the Day of Judgment came near and we split the moon. Now we have, in the 21st century, they invested billions of dollars to send astronauts into the moon. For one astronaut to go to the moon, the price tag is ridiculous. The figures are in the billions just to send one astronaut. I believe it was around $10 billion just to send one astronaut. They had a conference of all of these astronauts, and somebody asked them that if it costs so much to send one astronaut, can't you use that money to end world hunger? They said, yeah, but we just wanted to prove one point. So what point was that? They said, we had a suspicion that the moon had been split at one time. And we wanted to prove if it was true or not. They had a suspicion. Not that they read the Quran. So these scientists, they know. We have a saying in Pashto that the person who doesn't know, you can make him understand. But the one who knows, who's going to make him understand? They know. So they said, yeah, when we sent our astronauts there, they said, yes, at one point, the marks that were left on the moon proved that the moon at one time was split. There's a valley that formed around the moon in that area where the moon was split and then it came back together. And I said, yes, we proved it. So why don't you accept Islam? Well, no, this is the latest research and they got very, very great prizes for proving this fact. Even though this is copyright and lawsuit should be issued against them. Because the deen of Islam proved this 1400 years ago. I don't know what now they're giving each other prizes for proving such a thing, rather than accepting that it was mentioned in the Quran 1400 years ago. اقتربت الساعة وانشق القمر. So what more proof can you give someone? And they don't want to accept. No matter how many signs you show them, they're not going to accept. There were so many other miracles that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam performed, and he showed at his time. The greatest miracle, the Quran itself. Till today, no one can even bring anything similar to this Quran. In its eloquence, in its message, in its facts. Yet, they don't want to believe. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions these ayat, He says, أَرَأَيْتَ مَنِ اتَّخَذَ إِلَهَهُ هَوَاهُ. Have you seen the person who has made his own desires his God? They just follow their desires, they're slaves of their desires. And anything or anyone that tells them not to follow these desires, they will not accept it. So because of that, they've become blind with their own kufr. They've become blind with their own disbelief. They become heedless. And because of this heedlessness, this is one of the major facts of breaking that contract. That they accepted Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as their Rabb before they came into this dunya, before they came into this world. And when they came into this dunya, they fell trapped to their desires. They fell trapped to the ghurur of the dunya, the deception of this world. They fell trapped to shaitan, to the whispers of shaitan. And in the end, they were left to themselves, to their kufr and their disbelief and their blindness. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us this example that there are those who rather than accepting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they've chosen another path. And there's nothing that you can do to bring them back. They're not ready to listen. And if somebody is blind, they have a chance to hear, They can at least hear somebody tell them something is dangerous, don't go over there. And if somebody is deaf, they can at least see. Somebody is deaf and blind, they may have some aql or intellect, you can give them a message or something, they're able to understand. But if you take out these major faculties of understanding, sight, hearing, and intellect, then what is left? This person has no hope of ever being guided. Yes, we have to make an effort on them. But they've chosen this path for themselves. No one else has chosen this path on them. And because of this, they fall into the fasad, into mischief in the dunya, in causing discord, and spreading the disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Once you get to this level, what is right will seem as wrong, and what is wrong will seem as right. There's a mixture. You don't know what is right and wrong. It's happening in our society. People have become so blinded that now they're trying to prove that all the haram and all the filth and everything that is evil They try to prove that it is not only okay, but it should be accepted by the vast majority of humanity. And whatever is righteousness, it's frowned on. It's looked down on. It's considered something strange. This is what is happening in the world. Why? Because people are blind from the truth. People have separated themselves from the truth. So this is one of the brief tafsir of الَّذِينَ يَنْقُضُونَ عَهْدَ اللَّهِ مِنْ بَعْدِ مِيثَاقِهِ. Those who break the contract with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala after it was established and they agreed to it. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then left them to their kufr. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give all of us understanding and give us the tawfiq to practice His deen. وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. اللهم نور قلوبنا بالقرآن وزين أخلاقنا بالقرآن ونجنا من النار بالقرآن وادخلنا في الجنة بالقرآن. اللهم اجعل القرآن لنا في الدنيا قرينا وفي القبر مونسا وعلى الصراط نورا وفي الجنة رفيقا ومن النار سترا وحجابا. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. وصلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين.